My sensor just failed. Guess I'm gonna have to call technical support to get help with a new one. Let's see. Okay.
Thank you for calling technical support. Your current hold time is 7 hours.
7 hours? Okay.
Thank you for your patience while holding today. We apologize for the delay. My name is Brian. How may I help?
Hello? Hello? What? Oh, no. No! No! Hi everybody, welcome to this dose of Dr. E and Dr. P. And you can probably relate to that little video in some way. You know, insurance can be frustrating, waiting on, the phone all the time. Or maybe you don't have insurance, and diabetes is not a cheap disease to have. So this is a hugely important issue for people around the globe.
You know, a lot of our programs we've been doing on TCOYD talks about the latest advances in type 2 medications, hybrid closed loop, all these new advances. But we've gotten feedback from a lot of folks around the world that it's nice that you guys have this access to this, but we don't. And that happens everywhere. And we also experience some of the things we're going to talk about today.
Yeah. So this is an area where you absolutely have to advocate for yourself, because you might be told something's not covered, but it could be if you know the right way, to go about it, or even there's ways to pay for cash, pay, or use these patient assistance programs. But it can be really overwhelming if you don't know where to start. So this is all a way of us eventually telling you guys about how we've set up a new part of our website that deals exclusively with access to help people get the medications and the therapies they need.
You know what I hear from the pharmaceutical companies who have doing their best to make their own access program is that very few folks take advantage of these programs that they have. And so you have to really be your own advocate. And I'll tell you what, I am amazed when someone cannot get a medication like a GLP-1, and they get a little help, they get the information, and they're instead of $400 a month, it's $35 a month.
Yeah.
I have them buy my supply too.
And, Steve and I are physicians, but we're also patients. And so we understand from the patient perspective, it can be extremely frustrating. It can be a financial burden. It can be anxiety provoking. Running out of insulin is not an option. So it can occupy a lot of time and energy for patients. And then I was going to say on the doctor side, this isn't a walk in the park either for us doctors. You want to talk about what that's like?
Well, have you ever heard of the prior authorization? That's like the kiss of death. A company will say, oh, we don't cover that. Your doctor has to fill out a PA, prior authorization, a ton of crazy questions. And then it goes before some committee. It may or may not get accepted. It causes delay in people with diabetes getting what they need. And, without getting too negative, sometimes it's an obvious stone wall that were put up to reduce the number of prescriptions they have to pay for.
Yeah.
I'm not naming companies. Some of them do this, and it just causes tremendous headaches. In fact, our clinic at UCSD, we hire a full-time individual just to fill out these forms. And Megan, we love you.
Yeah.
And she's dealing with all the back and forth. Please submit, the last patient visit, the documentation. Oh, your patient wants a refill on his continuous glucose monitor? Show me that he's testing his blood sugar with a finger stick 4 times a day. Like, that doesn't make any sense. So,
the point is, it's frustrating for everybody. So if you, feel like, you should feel like that your doctor's on your side, because we're really all trying to work together to get you these therapies. But it can be kind of nebulous for providers also. So, without further ado, on our TCOYD website now, we have, if you go to tcoyd.org/access, or if you just go to the website, you can click and find it, that it's dedicated specifically to these issues. So there's a couple kind of key things here. First, there's all kinds of new content that comes in the form of articles, videos, to help you navigate insurance. We actually will have a podcast also. I think there's a really cool feature towards the bottom of the page where there's a drop-down menu of all these different diabetes drugs called out by name and by the company. And if you're trying to get one of them, you can click on it. It can take you to their information about patient access and assistance programs, et cetera.
I can tell you it took a lot of work to put this website together. And we got help from We sent out to each pharmaceutical company, what kind of access programs do you have? And it's also a moving target because the rules change and programs change. So we're going to keep it as up to date as possible. And even for some of you folks that are on Medicare, all you old fogies, oh yeah, that's me. You know the secondary programs, the supplemental programs, that's super complicated. Do they cover diabetes? What's the copay? And then, you and I love donuts, but I hate donut holes for Medicare people because that's the time they have to pay out of pocket.
Yeah.
And it's a scary time for them because they may not be able to afford their meds for a certain period of time.
Yeah. So we're really excited and proud about this as a not-for-profit. This is a huge part of what we do, is educating and empowering people to take control of your diabetes. And part of that empowerment has to be, how can I get these important therapies in my hands? So please check it out. Thanks, Steve and TCOYD, all of us, for initiating this, and hope you find it helpful.